start with majority council taking attendance, please.
Sure, Madam Chairman. Ms. Willingham?
Present.
Reedy?
Here.
Alex is excused. Camisso?
Here.
Demalowitz?
Yep.
Ray Joyce?
Here.
Lakakis?
Yes.
Bergdorf?
Here.
And Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move right ahead, please.
The first item is approving the previous meeting minutes.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mr. Cacus, I got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Items 2, 3, 4, and 5 are tabled at request of sponsor. We're now moving to item 6, which is finalizing the accounting of the 2024 Albany County budget. And Comptroller Rizzo is here this evening.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Rizzo. Good evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and the members of Audit and Finance. The Comptroller's Office is presenting end-of-year budget adjustments in order to finalize the accounting of the 2024 budget. These adjustments are necessary to appropriately close 2024. I just wanted to point out the last entry on this spreadsheet of 16 pages. This is $637,000. This is for the arbitrage expense, which means we maximized on the interest income working with management and budget by investing all the bonded funds. Any interest earned above the bonded interest rate, arbitrage is incurred. So even though it's a $600,000 expense, it's because we made so much interest income. I just wanted to point that out to the staff. And if you have any questions regarding the changes that were made to the budget?
Okay, are there any questions from the members? All right.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam
Grimm.
Chair. Yeah, I noticed there's some increases for positions. Why would they be in the original budget? Why are they in the end of the year thing that we're doing?
As far as the .1s for different departments?
Well, like Director of Operations, 2,700, and
Right, now the clerk typist for 10,000. They,
Senior Criminal Investigators.
Mr. Grimm, this is what's left to us at the end of the year, so I can't explain why it's this way, why it wasn't fixed earlier.
so what happens is
Okay.
during the course of the year, when people are gonna go over budget on certain line items, they actually go through the process to the ledge to get the increases. But when the last 6 weeks, there isn't a ledge meeting to actually take care of some of these items, and some people don't actually ask for those increases. They might have enough money in their budget, but the specific line they might not have requested. They had enough money in their budget, but we have to clean it up to actually show that we had enough money for each line item. Otherwise, they go to the ledge, on a monthly basis
Okay.
throughout the year.
All right, that's fine. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions? If there's no further questions on the call for it. Got a motion from Mr. Devalowitz. I got a second from Mr. Commissioner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Item 7 is authorizing the acceptance of a grant award from, I'm sorry, we're skipping to item 10, which is a bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing various mechanical upgrades and improvements for the Department of General Services, stating the maximum cost thereof is $3 million, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3 million of serial bonds of said county to finance said appropriation. Commissioner Latina is here this evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Mr. Latina.
We're looking to get funding for the bond resolution of 23. We did not bond any money last year because we had enough from the following years. But we're looking to get these funded for upcoming projects.
Any questions? If not, I'll call for a motion. I got a motion from Mr. Camisso. I got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 11 is a bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing a vehicle and truck replacement project for the Department of General Services, stating the maximum cost thereof is $500,000, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $500,000 of serial bonds of said county to finance said appropriation.
Yes,
Commissioner?
Madam Chair. Under the same resolution, number 10 of 2 of 23, we're just looking to get the financial bonding for this bond.
I just want clarification.
Yes.
Okay. Would we place 11 or more vehicles
Yes, ma'am.
per year?
Some of the vehicles that we have are the older Escorts. that are gas operated, fully gas. We've gone to mostly hybrids. This will be covering a lot of the newer vehicles. We're trying to get more electric vehicles as soon as they come out. It's going to be a little bit of a time because we have to get more charging stations, and that with the project, the solar project at the MVP Arena will allow us to buy more solar vehicles.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Demolowitz.
This bonding for cars is new recently, last few years, isn't it?
No,
We
we've
never-
always bonded for vehicles.
No, we haven't. I remember 15, 20 years ago, we never bonded for, because by the time you paid a bond off, the vehicles weren't worth anything.
Chair
This is-
recognizes Mr. Riley.
So, Mr. Demalis, to your point,
There you go.
during my time in management and budget, we originally used to bond for the vehicles. The last, what we say, comptroller, 2, maybe 3 years, we paid straight cash. So, what the commissioner here is getting is not just a bonding authorization, it's a financing authorization as well. So basically, he can start his project, we're saying we're backstopping the funding, and then at the end of the year, comptroller and I will sit and go, do we have enough cash on hand, do we need to go bond to backfill these projects, or can we pay for it out of overages?
I'm talking specifically about cars,
Understood.
vehicles, trucks. What's the amortization rate on a vehicle?
Well, that's why we're paying cash now, we pay cash for
Well,
the
is there some of this money for vehicles? I thought I heard vehicles.
It is for vehicles, but what we're asking for is being able to go out and get the financing through either bonding and/or cash on hand to do the project itself.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the bonding aspect of it, just get the money appropriated for it.
A better term.
Specifically for vehicles. It doesn't make sense to bond for vehicles because the rate of the bond, the longer the pay, the cost of the bond costs more than what the vehicle's worth. But in the long run, in the end.
And part of that is, a better terminology here would have been financing resolutions for all of these, because it allows one or the other depending on economic circumstances.
Well, as long as I've been here, this is the way we've always done it for vehicles. What would happen before, I was commissioner and/or before, everybody else that I knew as I've been here. This is the way it's always been carried.
Recently.
Well, the last 13 years.
Well, that's recent. That's recent for me.
Mr. Bergdorf.
In my experience, it's not unusual to bond for equipment, vehicles, office equipment, et cetera, because depending on what the tranche of your bond is, you can set different useful lives. So for example, you could borrow $200,000 on a 5-year bond and cover the useful life of automobiles. We used to do that for clients all the time to make sure we were in compliance with the tax law and also to make sure they weren't paying for obsolete vehicles that were, or equipment that was no good.
Okay, all right. And do I have any other questions? If not, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Reedy. I got a second from,
Second.
okay, from Mr. Joyce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 12 is a bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing various building upgrades and improvements for the Department of General Services, stating the maximum cost thereof is $7 million, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $7 million of serial bonds of said county to finance said appropriation.
Yes, this is the same resolution, Madam Chair. We're just looking for the funding and financing on this already bonded resolution.
Kara Joyce.
Oh, okay. Right, Mr. Bergdorf.
Dave, are these for items that are already explicitly in the capital program?
Yes, well, these are for various projects that are up and coming, like, this will be like for the Stedman House, that's right now is under the engineering aspect of it. The floors on 2, 3, and 4 at the nursing home, for the demo work we have to do on those floors, to
Okay.
get those prepared to redo those offices. So these are ongoing
These
projects.
are existing.
Yes.
There is nothing here that is aspirational, like out of the 7 million, we have 1.5 million that we're allocating towards maybe something we may want to do at St. Rose that the legislature may not know anything about at this time?
Well, this is This money is usually just sits there, we do the things, but there is money there in case a project comes along, as that aspects, and then, in that case, we would come back to you saying, this is the project we wanna do, and we wanna get the money allocated for that project at that point.
So this generic approval of it doesn't, it would require a secondary approval?
We'd have to come in, we'd have to, do the bonding, or not really the bonding, we'd have to do the project and say, this is where we're taking the money out of, we're taking the money out of this bond itself.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, there's the thought that we may be selling some buildings, with the whole San Marcos thing. And is so consideration being given, if we upgrade a building and we're gonna sell it? Now, maybe upgrading, we get a bigger price or something, but I'm wondering, are you taking that into consideration when you're doing the upgrades of certain buildings with the idea that some may be sold?
Yes, we are. We do take that into consideration, with the county executive, what their projects are down the road. And say if I have a project that we're looking at doing, that we can get away with doing a smaller type project to keep it up and running. If they're planning on selling that building, that's what we're doing.
So you have some sense of what might be most marketable?
Yes.
From this thing. Very good. All right, very good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Demowitz.
Of these smaller bonds, the 500,000 and 1.5 million, do you put those together and bond them all at once so it's cost effective?
Yeah, so when we go out to the or it's actually the comptroller's office who handles that piece of it. But they'll go out to her financial advisor, he'll bundle together what he can with the useful lives, as Mr. Bergdorf's pointed, the different tranches of the notes, and then they'll sell one bulk offering.
Okay, if there's no further questions, comments, I'll call for a motion.
Make the motion.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Camiso, I got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Item 13 is a bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing county facilities roof renovations for the Department of General Services, stating the maximum cost thereof is $1.5 million, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1.5 million of serial bonds of said county to finance said appropriation.
Yes, Madam Chair, this is under the same resolution for the it's February 2023 for county facility roof renovations that we're planning on doing for the county facilities.
Questions, comments? If not, I'm call for a motion. Got a motion from Mr. Joyce.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Demowitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Heading back to item 7 is authorizing the acceptance of a grant award from Workforce Development Institute and authorizing an agreement with TSI Incorporated regarding the purchase of respirator testing equipment at the Shaker Place Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. Director Sean Thelen is here.
Deputy, but thank you. Mark Olson doing something else tonight, and I'm here to represent this grant acceptance here. Shaker Place requesting to accept $12,500 for the purchase of a fit test machine. The fit test machine we use to annually give our nurses and other frontline workers the respirator test on an N95 mask to see which one fits them best, and you get a positive or negative score on how that is, and then we go on from there. Currently, we borrow the machine from the health department or have our people go there. This grant allows to pay for half of the purchase of this machine with a 5-year warranty. I think the total is $22,335 as the last quote.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
Good.
Graham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, let me make sure I understand this. You have a machine that they have a mask on, you can test it.
Yep.
To see how effective the mask is?
Yep.
And
So.
if it's not working, you try another mask or something?
Yes, so there's several different, and we try to get people certified on which mask is going to fit them better. So there's currently the system that we borrow. This is for a new one for us. It's a similar machine that we borrow from the health department, but it measures how much salt's in the air, right? So it fills up the air. You breathe in and out. It tests on the backside of the mask to see how much salt is in that, because you don't respirate the salt. And from there, because the mask should filter it out, and from there it tells you how effective the mask is. There's many different manufacturers and makers now of N95 masks. Some are KN95 masks, if they're not meant for the healthcare industry and whatnot. But if you've seen them before, sometimes you have the circular green mask. That's the common 3M color. Sometimes they have white ones also. And then also sometimes there are duck-billed masks. Everybody has a different style face that it fits. And if you have some facial hairs, some masks work better for you, not, and we go from there.
Did we have this during COVID? Or these are new?
Yeah, we've been borrowing it from the health department. With this grant, it becomes more cost-effective, and, the Workforce Development Institute for this award pays for half of it. Of course, we'll get the reimbursement for the backside for the depreciation of the other half, but this is the upfront that they'll reimburse us.
Help employees, you could learn earlier if they're not gonna be feeling well. Is a tip off on the illness?
You want to get them like what best match for them, right? Every face is different. Sometimes, if you have a big Mr. Bergdorf, it's going to be a hard time for me to find a mask that's going to give you a solid fit because you have facial hair. So sometimes even some people will shave, when they have to do or whatnot to get that clean.
That's fascinating, very good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. There's no other comments or questions?
Motion move.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. George, got a second from Mr. Katz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Item 8 is amending the 2025 Albany County budget for administrative adjustments. Commissioner Riley is here this evening.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This is our annual, we refer to as the cleanup resolution, similar to how the comptroller just cleaned up the lines in last year's budget after everything closed. This is our kind of review of what was passed at the end of last year, things that the departments may have missed, union step agreement, or, step increases to salary lines. I think there's one or two cases where a job was put in, like the assistant county attorney, it was put in at the wrong level because somebody had gotten a promotion after the budget had already been submitted to you guys. Pretty vanilla.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? There's no questions? Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Katz. Excuse me. I got a second from Mr. Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Item 9 is adopting an updated disposition plan by Albany County for real property acquired through the in-rem delinquent tax foreclosure process. Jeff Neal is here this evening.
Madam Chair, member of the committee. If I could just give you just a quick overview of why we're here. The U.S. Constitution reserves the right to taxation to the state of New York. The state of New York authorizes the county via the New York State Real Property Tax Law. In the proceedings we have to follow in order to collect and enforce taxes. There was a decision in May of 2023 by the U.S. Supreme Court that recast taxes as takings, much like eminent domain proceeding. The state then in 2024 changed the state law to require us to distribute surplus. Our disposition plan prior to this complied with the language inside of the New York State Real Property Tax Law that did not allow for the distribution of surplus. But this version of the disposition plan does three things. It reserves the county's right under New York State law under Section 1066 to make any determination about transfer of properties that the body determines is appropriate. It establishes a priority there for returning properties to former owners. That resolves any equity issue that might arise. It then puts us into the Section 1197, which says a public sale through public auction is irrefutable full value of the property. There are a bunch of counties in upstate New York that are currently under class action lawsuits for sales of properties that the owners of the properties are indicating they believe were sold for less than the property was worth. So this disposition plan protects the county from that litigation present and into the future.
Are there any questions? Okay, got a motion from Mr. Demolowitz.
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Item 14 is a request to authorize the correction of the 2025 property tax bill of 29 Bly Road in the town of Colony. Mr. McGuire is here this evening, Director of Real Property.
Good evening, Audit and Finance Committee. I have a request to correct a tax bill, a 2025 tax bill for 29 Bly Road, located in the town of Colony. The town, this property is owned and operated as the Victory Christian Church. It's eligible to receive a nonprofit tax exemption. Victory Christian Church sold or purchased the property from Capital Church, Inc. on July 2nd, 2024. The town removed the tax exemption, but they are allowed to keep the tax exemption. Before they caught that issue, a tax bill went out, so we're looking to correct that erroneous tax bill that was issued to Victory Church.
I have a question.
Okay, yeah. Mr.
Is this
Denali.
property gonna be used as a church, or is it an
That's-
investment by the church?
My understanding is it's used and actively used as a church.
Be a church?
Yes. Has been a church, is a church.
So Victory,
Victory purchased it from Capital Church.
and Victory is now going to be at 29 Bly, is that what you're telling me?
That's my understanding, yes.
So that'll be a third location.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
He's been buying property.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, I got a second from Mr. Cactus, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Item 15 is a request to authorize the correction of the 2025 property tax bill of 260 Bradford Street in the city of Albany.
260 Bradford Street's owned by the Albany County Land Bank. The Land Bank is exempt under Article 16 of New York State Non-for-Profit Corporations Law. The Land Bank acquired the property on June 12th of 2023. Due to an error, the assessor's office did not apply the exemption to the property on the assessment roll, so here we are. They have a tax bill that they should not have received, and I'm asking that we could get your approval to correct that tax bill.
Any questions or comments? Okay, I got a motion then from Mr. Cactus, got a second from Mr. Reedy, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 16 is requesting authorization to enter into a pilot agreement with Reservoir Road Solar.
Reservoir Road Solar is looking to build a 5-megawatt solar array. We're in the process of negotiating a pilot agreement under real property tax law, section 487, which allows us to enter into a 15-year pilot with Reservoir Road Solar. We will be receiving $1,000 per megawatt, which would total $5,000 a year. There's a 2% annual escalator that's built into that pilot. So the 5% a year, 15 years, $5,000 escalating 2% per year over a 15-year period. And if approved, the initial pilot payment might be in January 2026. I say it might be in 2026 because it depends on when they actually would build the array and it gets commissioned and active for use. So if it's not 2026, it would be 2027.
Okay, all right. Any questions or comments? Mr. Frank?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So it's $5,000 per year beginning with the first year.
Yes, sir.
This is what they've agreed to pay as part of the agreement.
Correct.
But how much are they saving? Do we have that number?
Depends on who you ask. There's a model that,
By saving, I mean, how much tax would they have paid with their assessed
I
value?
don't have the number. I can look into it and get back to you. What it comes down to is how you would value that solar array. And there's been some recent changes prior to, about a month ago, there was a model that was required to be used by assessors to value solar arrays. Is required by New York State. There was a recent court decision in Schoharie County that actually declared that whole model as unconstitutional. So that's kind of thrown into flux how these assessors are valuing the solar arrays. I can value it using that model. Outside of that, you would look at possibly a cost valuation for that because it's kind of a unique property, and I don't have the cost valuation figures, but I could estimate it using that most recent model and get back to you with what the actual taxes would be. However, I would say it's an academic exercise. It's kind of a moot point because if we don't negotiate a pilot under section 487, they would just be 100% exempt. So the section 487 grants them a 15-year exemption that's based on the increase of assessment attributable to that solar array. This actually allows us to get something, right? With no pilot, it would just be 100% exempt.
So 487 is the state law?
New York State Real
Because they're
Property
solar?
487. Yep.
Yeah, because my concern is, solar, I don't think it's been, I think solar could have done better than we anticipated 10 years ago. But the idea is to help them out.
Yep.
But it's, this law says, according to you, then that if you didn't negotiate a pilot, they would have gotten a complete tax break.
And in some cases, that has happened. It's, by some other taxing jurisdictions, some school districts in the county, they're choosing not to enter into pilot agreements, so they're not getting any pilot revenue from these arrays. So, and our practice has been to do that and try to get what we can, right? So, my thought is something is better than nothing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. No questions?
Motion.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr.
Second.
Demotis, I got a second from Ms. Reed, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
One abstention.
Please, one abstention, the rest is abstention.
Item 17 is making a secret determination and authorizing the purchase of a parcel of real property in the city of Albany. Michael Lally is here.
Good evening, legislators. Thank you for hearing this request for legislative authorization. This is something that you previously approved for a different property. Several months ago, I came before you with requests to purchase a property on 9W in Glenmont to be purposed for a fire training tower. We did our due diligence and we realized it's not the right property for us. We had an engineering survey come in and we decided to back away from that property rather than give it something that we didn't want to get over our heads with. We have another property. It has 13 Binghamton, which is pretty much off South Pearl Street in the Port of Albany. We're looking to do the same thing. We're conducting a feasibility study right now with Colliers Engineering. They're about 80% done with the feasibility report. Once we get that report in hand, we'll determine whether we want to move forward with the property or if it's a liability and we want to walk away like we did before.
Mr. Demotis?
So that the training facility is off the table.
No, training facility is still on the table.
Still
That
on.
location that we previously looked at
On
at Glenmont.
9W, the old
off the table.
Roberts.
Correct.
So I drove by the other day, and is there a rent sign or for some, who's doing that?
So it was Trinity Realty Group that I spoke with. However, that
On our
sign's-
behalf?
No, it was me engaging with the Trinity Realty Group who was representing the property owner.
I thought we
this is
bought
a-
it.
No, we did not buy it. I came before you for permission to purchase.
Yeah.
You granted that to me,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to purchase unless I knew it was a good property to buy.
Oh, so we approved it, but you never closed on it.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to run the two tracks parallel. I didn't want to slow anything down on it.
Yeah, no, I just,
Mr. Bergdorf?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thanks, Mike. We're being asked to make a seeker determination tonight?
Yes, to purchase a
As part of
property,
this.
it's my understanding you always have to make a secret determination.
Right. Are we making a seeker determination based on raw land? Or are we making a seeker determination based on the use of a fire tower and training center?
Right now, I believe, and I'll double check this for you, that we're doing for the purchase. The secret determination is going to be later come before you as long as the feasibility checks out, because that's gonna require an engineer to come on. The amount of information that we need to provide for a secret determination for a fire tower is just outside of the capacity of the county. And we don't want to contract
Well,
those
that's
services out.
basically what I wanted to hear. So this is not gonna be a type 1, this is gonna be a type 2 full seeker evaluation, so that the residents in that neighborhood will know that, you know, test burns and things like that
Put a
are
fire
going
rate.
to happen. The city is gonna end up being an involved agency, I would believe.
So they've been on board from the onset, Albany Fire Department, as well as some of the other municipal fire fire departments. They've been on board on what they would like to see there. They've been on board about talking to the Port of Albany with us about this specific property. Yes, sir.
No, my concern is more for, you know, the folks in, you know, draw a 2,000-foot radius around it, which probably goes into Bethlehem as well. So in the seeker, you would have city planning department, maybe the Bethlehem planning department as involved agencies with whatever engineering firm or whatever the seeker professional would be that you would hire.
Yes, and I have spoken to a firm out of Syracuse. They designed these, and we're confident that there's actually a couple, at least one locally that can do the work, but we'll bid it out and there's a professional that can do
Professional
that very
services.
complicated work
Okay.
for us. Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure that as we go down this road, that it almost seems to me that before you buy the land, you ought to know that environmentally it's appropriate, but,
And we are taking a look, not too in-depth at it, but we are looking at hydrological, we're doing core sampling to make sure that the structure can be held there. Colliers Engineering even identified a potential wildlife issue. So we are looking at all of these things and doing our due diligence so we don't step into something that's gonna be.
are you doing a phase one archaeological assessment?
I don't think we've done archaeological now. But you're completely right. If you dig down in Albany, you find wooden pipes.
Especially near a waterfront.
Yes, sir. We'll take that into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Camiso?
Does this property abut the Norman scale?
Yes, it does. So this property is on the other side of the Norman Skills as the 9W Glenmont property that we were looking at. It's just on the Albany side in the Port of Albany.
Where's the map and the stuff?
Yeah, where's the map? We got the map.
This is behind a recycling
Yes, sir.
operation?
It's between the Albany County Rail Trail, the recycling operation, and then it just kind of cuts to Norman Skill. On the other side of the road is the Port of Albany.
So it is up the hill from the train station, from the tracks and the river.
It's correct. If you're traveling south,
Up to
it's
Blue Tire.
correct.
Better for the air quality.
Okay, very good. There's no other questions or comments, I'll call for a motion.
Same motion.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Woody, I got a second from Mr. Jamalowitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Item 18 is making a secret determination and authorizing the sale of 60 South Pearl Street in the city of Albany.
Have 18.
It's on Granicus.
What's the address?
60 South Pearl.
60 South Pearl.
Turns out the numbers don't all.
What's the cost?
What number are we on?
18, it's on Granicus.
I don't have 18 on here.
It's on
That's right here.
Granicus.
It was right next to
It was
it. It's on
added
Granicus.
late this afternoon.
You have your pad.
On the pad.
You can
He
have-
thought it was just me.
It's on the pad. Pad exclusive, that's it.
We try to support our Granicus.
Right. Thank you. So this is request to designate 60 South Pearl, also known as the Mercantile Probation Building, as surplus property for purpose of sale to Liberty Park Development in the amount of $1.4 million.
You said, I'm sorry, this is running the show. You said Liberty,
Yes, ma'am. Liberty Park Development.
Who's that?
and who,
At the soccer stadium.
who is it? Liberty Park Development?
They're a local firm. They're owned by Jeff Buell.
Thanks for
Okay, all right. I got a question from, Mr. Jamalowitz.
Thank you.
And then I'll go to,
How did we arrive at
you,
1.4 million?
Mr. Berger.
We listed the property for 30 days. We had two people give offers on the property. Both were in the same amount, the asking
Who
price.
appraised the property?
We had GAR appraise the property.
Now, where is probation going?
We have 260 days from the time of signing to find a location from probation. However, Liberty Park has assured us that they will work with us to be able to meet the timeline that we need.
Well, I hope they're not thinking of putting probation in St. Rose, because we get a problem with that, bringing all those criminals up into our neighborhood.
I'll take that into
Take
consideration.
that into consideration when you're trying to, when you're looking for votes to buy it, or sell this.
It's terrible. They don't want bus stops either up there.
Yeah.
I have a question.
You know, let's be careful when we start tagging people, you know, just sounds so, I don't know. I understand what you're saying, very clearly, okay? But, you know, I just want to say that. You got the right to say it, but,
She's saying to be careful.
Mr. Bergdorf.
I was gonna ask what, for selling it for $1.4 million, what did it appraise for?
The price for 2.8.
Okay.
2.8.
Hot, yeah.
How do we,
As an office building?
We find that the appraisals and the market are quite different during this time.
and we had it on the market for how long?
This offer actually came in before it was listed, probably a month
we took
before, and then we had it on the market for 30 days.
You wanna buy it?
There was one other offer that came in for the same amount.
So we have until the end of the year,
I'd say we have until the beginning of next year,
or beginning of next year?
a more optimistic way to look at it.
So-
We have been looking at different properties as well. So Carroll Realty was contracted through a contract with the Contract Administration Board, I said contract a lot, sorry. And they were the ones that listed this property. They have also been working with us to find new properties. We've toured a few. Some of them we're gonna find a good home for them that's in a nice location, not directly across from the MVP arena, so it can be used for a higher and better use.
He doesn't know.
Half price though.
Okay, I just want to, hold it, everybody. I just want to ask this quick question, and I'll let everybody on, okay? Is probation the only department that's in that building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who had their hand up first?
Public defender used to be there, as some of you may remember, but they've moved to the second floor of this building.
Okay, Mr. Joyce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I got a lot of phone calls on an article about the College of St. Rose. I don't know if we can table this until I understand we have a meeting with the county exec on Monday. We could talk about a facilities plan a little bit, so we understand what the plan is for these properties. Is that something we can consider?
Wait, say again.
I believe there might be a discussion.
Is that a motion, Ray?
Well, I would like to understand what the full facilities plan is. It's more of a discussion, and then,
You're on a different issue.
what's that?
He's on South Pearl Street.
Where's it
It's
going?
related.
Oh, where's it going?
Yeah.
I just need to understand, I need to have something to give back to the residents of my district that surround St. Rose, what's going in there, what the plan is, and we're approving things that I think might impact that. I just need to understand what that plan is.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but you know what? I want to hear from everybody on here, and I want to hear that it's solid, okay, that is going into St. Rose. So I got, Joyce, you have a question?
Yeah,
Okay,
I was just wondering if you knew what he was intending to do with that building as a resident of Albany.
I do not. We've had a few people look at it because of the structure of the building. It's a wooden structure. It's not concrete like here. So you're limited. You can't make parking on the first floor, for example. Most likely it would be apartments. We gave several tours of this building. Everyone asked questions that made it seem like it was going to be apartments. With probably a business on the first floor, like the sandwiches next door and the MVP across the street.
Thank you.
all right, so I think Mr. Bergdorf is next.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little taken back with us selling it for half price of an appraisal, to be very candid with you. And I'm sort of wondering, I'm hearing people talking about concerns of the neighborhood and stuff like that. Is there a reason that this couldn't be tabled for 30 days for people to do due diligence to, consult with their constituents or maybe have a better understanding why this is coming off the market so quick? When you've had two offers and it's appraised. This isn't a 20% variation. This is a 100% variation.
Oh, and I completely agree with you.
Is there any imminent need for this?
The appraisal question. Michael McGuire, hi everybody.
Okay,
Back again.
please state your name.
Michael McGuire, Director of Real Property. When we had this property appraised, it was a little while ago. Since then, we have seen that the commercial real estate market has continued to decline, especially in office spaces. So nationally and locally, there's a glut of office space. And I will say that this is not prime office space. If you've been in the building, I think that's an adequate description. It's less than prime. So it's being sold for a different use, right? So the fact that it was appraised, I think it was almost 2 years ago, right? 23 for 2.8 and now is being sold for 1.4 is not surprising, especially considering its use, the location, and the availability of additional commercial office space within the downtown market. that is superior to this office space.
Was it appraised on the basis that it would continue as a commercial office space?
When it was appraised as it was being used, so yes,
And-
as
and
a
so what-
commercial
what
office
is that?
space.
What is that, was that per square foot in the appraisal?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we can, actually.
I guess I'm wondering,
Yeah.
if-
It's 35,000 square feet, so do the math. Nine, what is
I
that?
don't have enough fingers and toes.
Nine, 90?
And Mr. Bergdorf, I would have loved if there was a bidding war and this thing sold for
Yeah.
$4 million, that would have been fantastic. But the concern that our office has is we want to see the city of Albany continue to flourish. There's a lot of investment that's being made, including by up the hill from the governor's office. The $200 million that was announced is bringing a lot of attention to what Albany can be. And if we can repurpose a building that's currently used for probation to be housing, to be business, we believe it's in the best interest of it to let the market sort that out.
Okay.
$80 a square.
Was under the commercial.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it was
Now we're selling
appraised, it was at $80 a square foot.
Selling for 40
Okay.
bucks a square.
Okay, before I go back to Mr. Joyce, was there anybody else? Okay, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Mr. McGuire just said the commercial market is lower now. That really concerns me because we own a lot of property on the St. Rose property. So the question is, if the market is lower, then that's going to affect the value of the St. Rose properties for sure. And we've invested $50 million in the St. Rose property. So that's
Okay.
concerning.
Mr. Grimm?
Yep.
We're talking about the South Pearl Street right now. And because I don't want to get into that because then we're going to be here all night long. Okay, and there's going to be ample time to discuss St. Rose. I don't want to do that tonight, okay, but I heard what you
I
said.
would be willing to table this, Madam Chair.
Okay, I just want, like I said earlier, I want to hear from everybody and then I'm going to go back to Mr. Joyce.
Okay.
Mr. Drake.
Thank you. I'm not on the committee, but may I ask? So we're looking at a $40 a foot sale here, which to me is kind of a fire sale. Actually, it's a great deal. I'd love to buy a building for 40 bucks a square foot anywhere, whether it be residential or commercial. So I'm prefacing that, so I guess what I'm asking is, you said that you were, I think you expressed that nobody really came out of the woodwork, these were the bids you got. Why did you have to take those bids now? Can you explain that part? And sort of the second part of the question is, so that way, because I don't tie you up for too long, in your proposal, the description of request, it says, the building is reaching the end of its service life, so you'll probably expound on that, but it requires infrastructure improvements. Furthermore, the building would serve better use developed for economic improvement in the downtown area. I guess I would say that I disagree that apartment construction is economic improvement and development. Few places require incentive to build apartments, but they don't generate economic activity. They generate residential space, which is equally important, but I wouldn't consider that economic development. So I was just wondering if you could speak to both of those questions, please.
Absolutely. The building right now serves the purpose of being the probation office. It's directly across from the MVP arena. When people are coming to the MVP arena, we get regular complaints about what they are walking past. Regardless of how we feel about that,
I want that in my neighborhood.
it's the reality of the situation. So what we are looking at is finding a different, higher and better use for it, something that can capitalize off of being across the street from the MVP arena. In terms of timing, we spoke with Carroll Realty. They reached out. It wasn't just listing it and having it sit there. That's why we engaged. We're a realty company that does this. What we have is the responses that we have. I mean, I would love if you bidded on it for that $40.
So Carroll procured a second offer in the $1.4 million to $1.5 million range?
It was a second offer for the exact same amount we're asking.
Exact same amount?
Exact same amount.
Okay, and do you know what the intent for that purchaser was?
I do not. That purchaser was from downstate in New York. For the same amount, I felt more comfortable going with someone that was local, that has a proven track record, rather than going out of the.
Yeah, because I asked that question in the context of economic development, and, which I guess we'll be on next. which is essentially that, you know, if our mandate, not our mandate, but I guess our aspiration is to use our real estate and our influences to generate economic activity and expansion in the city, and if we agree that we're gonna give it away at a price that is 50% of the last appraisal, I guess it would be meaningful in that analysis to me that, you know, what's gonna happen to this thing, and being across from the MVP arena in a commercial area, you know, it just surprises me that the location itself couldn't be used as something that the Alliance or somebody else might be working on to build that up, you know? So anyway, thanks for answering my questions.
Well, thank you for the comments. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you. All right, Mr. Joyce.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Somebody mentioned, maybe Mr. Bergdorf, about our neighborhood and our community, and I'm concerned about the College of St. Rose, but more importantly, I'm concerned about downtown Albany. I'm reading articles in the paper about selling 112 State Street, selling Department of Social Services now, probation, I guess the federal government's now selling the federal building. We're filling one hole by creating another one that's gonna impact the south end of North Albany. I would like to see more details on what the facilities plan is specific to what we're doing with our properties, right? And what the plan is to move them and where they're gonna go. I hope the Advanced Albany County Alliance is involved in that. Urban planning and economic development goes a long way, and I'm really concerned about downtown. I'm more concerned about downtown with the recent news than I am about the College of St. Rose. I was hoping there'd be some tax base, some, you know, opportunity put in that campus, and if it's county properties, I think we're losing an opportunity. That said, my concerns about downtown, hopefully we get more information from the executive's office. I would like to make a motion to table.
Okay, all right.
Can I just make a comment on that?
Yeah.
Just answer your question real quick. So I haven't looked at St. Rose for this property.
That's okay.
That being said, and also, I just want to remind everyone, you know, the hole that we would leave by leaving this building is something that would be filled with a better purpose for something that would bring more attention to Albany. It may be residential, mixed use, but that's what we're looking to do here.
Right,
They're
but-
not abandoning Albany. by
No,
any
no, I
means. The county
understand.
executives continually investing in downtown Albany.
Right, no, and we see
So
that,
I just
right,
want to
with
make
Howard
sure that
Street.
that's clear. He really cares about the city, and that's everything he's aiming to do here.
Right, well, we need to bring Advanced Albany County Alliance in too, because, you know, you just lost the dollar store down there, I think. Where's the grocery? Where do they shop? Where can they walk? I mean, there's gotta be a bigger plan here than just put housing in there and nothing to support it, so I wanna hear more about what that plan is, that's all.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, I know we entertained your motion, okay? We're gonna entertain, your motion, to table it, I just wanna say something, okay? So, I know everybody's bringing up St. Rose, okay? At the same time too, St. Rose is not the end all and be all for everything that is going to change as far as the plans for downtown in the city of Albany, all right? And not only that too, you stated that we just lost Dollar General, you know, down in the south end, okay? So when you say you can't see this as economic development, that's not true. I see it as some type of economic development because it's with plans that others bring that is gonna bring the south end back, okay? And I know everybody don't wanna hear about, you know, what happened with the, you know, Corning and Governor Rockefeller, but can't get past it. And something has to happen with that $400 million that the governor has decided to pour into the city of Albany, okay? And so this is just a start of what hopefully will happen. So however that building is repurposed, we gotta look at it in a positive way, but not necessarily say that it's gonna have something to do with St. Rose, because I heard something different.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not worried about St. Rose, I'm worried about downtown is what I'm saying.
My worry is that we can't see past what you're saying, afraid of where the probation department is going. I heard that too.
I didn't say that. That was-
I know you didn't.
No, I did. I said that.
Wait. I know you didn't, okay? But the one thing that I want to get across here, that all of this is about rebuilding, you know, the city of Albany, okay? And so every conversation we have can't be about not in my backyard, because that's what came out. And so I just want to cut that.
That's not what came out of
I'm
me,
going-
because
I'm
I
I'm
said,
letting you make the motion.
what's the plan for downtown is what I asked, and that's not my backyard. I'm concerned about downtown, because if we lose downtown, we lose the city. So I want to know what the plan is.
Yeah, but you did start with St. Rose, and believe me, I'm with you on St. Rose. I hear you loud and clear, and I'm with you, okay? But, what we do with this cannot revolve simply around if it's going to St. Rose, probation, and now, I want you to hear very loudly what I'm saying. I'm with you. So I think we need to table it, okay, till we can get some more information, but before we, should I take the vote first? Or should I let the chair speak? Okay, all right, so I'm gonna take, I got a motion from you. I need a second.
Second.
I got a second from, everybody. I got a second from Gary, okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I got a comment from the chair.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little late because it's after the motion, but that's okay. I'm kind of, was listening a lot, and just a couple thoughts. We have a space that isn't right for probation, and it's been kind of a priority to look for other locations. Somebody wants to buy that and build housing in downtown Albany, which I think we all think is a good thing. May not be connected to the Alliance and Economic Development, but it certainly is gonna help. So we have the building, somebody wants to buy it, build housing, those are good things. Maybe the price point is not what Todd's offer is. And maybe Todd can make his offer if he thinks it's worth more, but markets change, we all know that. So I'm not getting this. Like, somebody wants to buy a property that we want to move out of and build something that is good for downtown Albany. I think we're also connecting, we don't want it at St. Rose. I mean, I think there's a lot of steps that have to happen before probation moves out of downtown Albany into St. Rose. I don't see the connection. Those two things are priorities. Develop St. Rose. There's a million great ideas that we're talking about. We'll hear more from the exec soon about St. Rose. I have not heard, in fact, I have heard the opposite. And we also have the Pine Hills Authority, and I'm sure they would have a lot to say about something like probation and whether it's appropriate in St. Rose.
I don't care, I'm not talking about probation in St. Rose. I heard 112 was gonna be housing. Now I'm hearing this property's gonna be housing. And there's vacant housing in downtown now.
Can I just finish?
Sure.
So I think hearing things is one thing. This is concrete, and this is not 112, we're selling 112. This is, we have probation that someone wants to buy, and it's not 112. We have not had any discussions about 112. We've read things in the newspaper, and that's it. And I think a lot of us have lots of opinions about 112 and staying here and so forth. So I just wanted to make the point, I'm not connecting probation and its new location to this, because I think they're entirely separate conversations. And thank you for listening.
Ms. Joyce?
It was Paul that raised his hand.
No, I said Mr. Joyce.
Oh, no, I'm all
You
set.
done?
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Virgo.
During the period in which this is tabled, there's something that I would like some clarity on. One of the things that as you move all these checkers around, I thought we were trying to do was to create taxable economic development. And I would hate to see us sell a piece of property for 50 cents on the dollar and then give a developer through a local IDA a pilot where they're not paying any real property taxes. Because that would just add insult to injury. So I think if we're going to sell this to a private party and we are concerned about economic development in the city and revenues to the city and monies for the school district and that sort of thing, we ought to consider limiting the sale to proposals that are gonna generate taxes for the county and the city and the school district. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I don't know whether that's doable or not. I haven't been invited to any of the meetings that people are going to have.
Okay, all right,
But-
okay, let me say something. I don't know how the IDA got in this, okay? But what I am concerned about is, seems like every time something comes up that is in the South End, y'all got something to say that is, and I'm just gonna say it. I don't represent the South End, but I do represent a constituency, okay, where it falls and connects into my district. Every time something comes up with the South End, there's always this negative attitude that that's what I'm hearing. I don't know, how did the IDA get in this?
I'm trying to be positive,
Okay.
Wanda,
Yeah, but
because I don't
know,
consider
but the
that the
IDA
South End.
This is not.
I
this is not-
consider it-
The IDA was not a part of it. Did I see you with your hand up?
Yeah, but
I guess what I'm
Wanda,
trying to
the
say.
IDA won't be a part of it. It's a city, it'd be the city IDA if anybody gets involved in it, not the county IDA. It's not a county building. It'll be a privately owned building in the city of Albany, which would be up to the city of Albany on how they want to handle that.
Right. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Yes, please.
Motion.
I got a motion, I got a second, let's adjourn. Okay, good night, everybody.
Thank you for the question.
Good night, everybody. I've got to go.
Jesus.